There is a war raging right now, not the kind fought with bullets or bombs, but the war within, the war against doubt, the war against fear, the war against weakness, distraction, and failure. The real war is not one waged on battlefields or in boardrooms. It is waged in the unseen chambers of the mind. Every day, whether we recognize it or not, we are engaged in a silent struggle with ourselves. The enemy is not always out there, it is within us. Our doubts, our fears, our hesitations, our limiting beliefs. It shows up the moment you wake up and ask, "Can I do this?" It whispers when you're about to make a bold move, "What if you fail?" It drags its feet when discipline is required and screams, "Distractions," when silence is needed. This internal war is more relentless than any external hardship because it is constant, it is cunning, and if you do not recognize it, it will quietly sabotage everything you hope to build. This war disguises itself in comfort. It tempts you to settle when you should strive. It justifies excuses when effort is required. It tells you tomorrow will be better when today is slipping away. The mind, if left unmanaged, will act like a traitor, pulling you away from the very things you claim to want. But the same mind, when disciplined, becomes the most powerful ally you will ever have. The internal war is not something to avoid. It is something to confront, to engage with, and to master daily. Each time you choose focus over distraction, courage over fear, or effort over laziness, you win a small battle. And these small victories stack into the transformation of your entire character. It is easy to blame the economy, the politics, the environment, or other people for your failures. That is the language of the defeated. The person who is committed to mastery takes full ownership of what happens within, because they know the outer world is a reflection of the inner one. Chaos out there will never defeat a person who has built peace and clarity within. Storms may come, but they will not sway the individual whose roots are deep in self-control and purpose. You were not born to be ruled by the noise of your environment. You were born to rise above it by mastering your own thoughts, attitudes, and reactions. The real war is internal, and the secret is not to run from it, but to step into it with discipline, intention, and the unshakable belief that victory begins inside. Mastery of thought is the ultimate power because every result in life begins first in the mind. Before a building is constructed, it is imagined. Before a business is launched, it is envisioned. Before a person rises to greatness, they first see themselves as capable. Thought is the origin of all creation. Every action, habit, and result stems from what a person believes and repeatedly thinks. When thought is undisciplined, a person becomes reactive, easily influenced by opinions, moods, or fear. But when thought is trained, when it is directed with purpose, it becomes a force more powerful than any obstacle, criticism, or external resistance. There is a reason why two people can face the same challenge and come away with entirely different outcomes. One sees opportunity, the other sees a dead end. One takes action, the other makes excuses. The difference is not talent or luck. It is mindset. And mindset is not inherited. It is forged. You train your thoughts the same way you train your body, through repetition, effort, and deliberate control. A person who does not command their thoughts is like a ship without a rudder, tossed in every direction by whatever wind or wave appears. But the person who controls their thinking steers their life with intention. They do not hope to succeed. They expect it, and plan for it. The mastery of thought is not about always thinking positively. It is about thinking constructively, intentionally, and powerfully. It is about being aware of the mental patterns that limit you and replacing them with patterns that lift you. When fear creeps in, you meet it with clarity. When doubt shows up, you answer it with action. When failure happens, you turn it into feedback instead of finality. This is the power of a trained mind. It transforms every situation into fuel for growth. Most people live as slaves to their thoughts. They believe whatever enters their head, react emotionally, and never stop to question the validity or direction of their thinking. But those who rise above the ordinary take control at the root. They ask, is this thought helping me or harming me? They filter their inner dialogue like a leader filters advice, accepting only what serves the mission. That level of awareness and discipline is what separates the average from the exceptional. To master your thoughts is to master your future, because when your mind obeys your purpose, your life follows your vision. That is real power. Chaos is opportunity, though most people never realize it. They see disruption and panic. They feel uncertainty and freeze. But beneath every collapse is the seed of something greater, if you have the eyes to see it. Chaos strips away comfort, and with it illusion. It reveals what's real. It exposes weaknesses, demands decisions, and forces growth. In the middle of confusion, most retreat, waiting for clarity. But the few who understand the true nature of chaos lean in, act decisively, and rise while others are still doubting. Throughout history, every major leap forward came not during times of peace, but in times of pressure. Innovation, leadership, strength, all are forged in the fire of uncertainty. When systems fall apart, space is created. New ideas are born. New leaders emerge, and those willing to adapt gain ground. Chaos shakes the world just enough to make new things possible. The person who recognizes this truth stops seeing obstacles and starts seeing leverage points. They understand that in chaos, the rules are no longer fixed. Old models collapse, old leaders hesitate, and anyone bold enough to move with speed, clarity, and conviction can redefine the game. But to access this opportunity, you must first train your mind not to fear the unknown. You must become calm in the storm. Chaos will always test your emotions, your patience, your nerve, your clarity. The average person crumbles here. They overthink, overreact, or simply wait. But the strong stay grounded. They don't deny the storm. They learn to sail within it. They know that even when the future is unclear, their ability to respond with purpose and discipline remains under their control. It is not chaos itself that determines your fate. It is your relationship to it. Will you see it as destruction or rebirth? Will you run from it or use it to sharpen your skills and deepen your resilience? Greatness is almost never born in ease. It is carved out of adversity. When everything is falling apart around you, you have a unique chance to build something entirely new, first within yourself and then in the world. Chaos forces decision. It demands leadership. It clears out the complacent and rewards the courageous. The next chapter of your life could be written in the middle of disorder, but only if you choose to see it not as the end, but as the beginning of a bigger story. Chaos is not the enemy. It is the proving ground. Discipline creates freedom, though at first it feels like the opposite. It appears as restriction, as limitation, as rules that bind you. But what most people fail to realize is that true freedom, freedom of mind, freedom of movement, freedom to live fully, can only come when discipline is firmly in place. Without discipline, You are a slave to impulse. You wake up when you feel like it, work when it's convenient, and give in to every distraction that pulls you off course. That may feel like freedom in the moment, but it leads to chaos, regret, and dependence. Discipline, on the other hand, demands effort up front, but it rewards you with power, peace, and control. When you discipline your time, your days begin to serve you. You stop rushing. You start chasing. You start building. You begin to move through life with clarity and focus, knowing exactly what matters and cutting out everything that doesn't. So you lower your budget. This is physics. When you discipline your thoughts, you are no longer at the mercy of fear, doubt, or emotion. You become calm under pressure, focused under stress, and unshaken by the opinions of others. You operate from intention instead of reaction. The world is full of people with potential who never create anything meaningful because they lack the structure to sustain it. They start strong and fade. They dream big and act small. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. It is the difference between living on purpose or by accident. And the more you apply it, the more power you reclaim in every area of your life. Discipline is not just about routines, it's about alignment. It's choosing your long-term purpose over your short-term moods. It's saying no to ease so you can say yes to excellence. It's showing up when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, and when every part of you wants to quit. That's when discipline becomes character, and character creates momentum. With enough momentum, you stop being controlled by circumstances and start controlling them. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It's the result of mastering it. A disciplined body becomes strong and capable. A disciplined mind becomes sharp and unshakable. A disciplined life becomes a model for others to follow. You earn the freedom to choose your future because you've proven you can handle the weight of your choices. Discipline doesn't confine you, it equips you. It's not a punishment, it's a path. And those who walk it discover the rare kind of freedom that only the committed ever know. Most people conform, not because they lack the ability to lead, but because they fear standing alone. From a young age, we're taught to fit in, to follow rules, to obey without question. Society rewards compliance and punishes boldness, so people learn to stay quiet when they should speak, to hesitate when they should act, to blend in when they were born to stand out. They trade authenticity for approval, individuality for safety. But no great life, no remarkable impact was ever built on conformity. If you want to lead, you must break free from the invisible chains of the ordinary and step into the discomfort of independence. The world doesn't need more copies, it needs originals. It doesn't need more noise, it needs clarity. Leadership is not about titles or authority, it is about courage. The courage to trust your own mind, to listen to your own voice, and to move forward even when no one is clapping. Most people wait for permission. Leaders create the path. They don't ask, is this safe? They ask, is this true? They don't follow trends, they set direction, and that direction begins with conviction. To lead is to choose principle over popularity, responsibility over convenience. It means being willing to walk alone when necessary, to risk misunderstanding, and to face resistance without retreating. You will be judged, you will be doubted, but your strength is not in avoiding criticism. It is in staying firm when it comes. Leadership requires a strong mind, a disciplined character, and a vision that is bigger than your fear. It is the act of rising above the average and demanding more of yourself, not because others expect it, but because you refuse to settle. People conform because it feels safe, but that safety is an illusion. When you surrender your voice, your values, your originality, you don't gain peace. You lose purpose. And without purpose, life becomes hollow. The true risk is not in leading. It's in never stepping into your full potential. The crowd may mock you for standing tall, but they will quietly admire your strength. They may resist your leadership at first, but they will remember you long after the echoes of conformity fade. If you want to lead, begin by mastering yourself. Think with clarity, speak with truth, act with courage. Most people conform, but the few who dare to lead, they change everything. They show what's possible, and in doing so, they give others permission to rise. Victory requires inner fire, the kind that doesn't flicker when the winds of life howl, the kind that burns quietly when no one is watching, the kind that refuses to go out no matter how cold the world becomes. External achievements are not the starting point of victory. They are the result. What comes first is the fire inside, a relentless drive, a sense of purpose so strong it consumes excuses, fear, and hesitation. Without this internal flame, talent fades, discipline falters, and opportunity is wasted. But with it, even the most impossible situations begin to bend. This fire doesn't come from luck. It doesn't come from praise, approval, or applause. It is born in silence, in struggle, in solitude. It's built through choosing to keep going when nothing seems to be working. It grows when you push through pain instead of running from it. Every time you show up tired, every time you take one more step despite doubt or rejection, the flame inside you grows hotter, stronger, more focused. It becomes the source of your energy, your resilience, your momentum. People often chase motivation, looking for someone or something to light them up. But the truth is, no one can give you this fire. It must be created and guarded within you. Motivation is temporary. Inner fire is permanent. It's not a feeling. It's a choice, made over and over again, especially when the path is dark and uncertain. The most powerful people in the world aren't the loudest or the most gifted. They're the ones who have made a decision that they will not be stopped. Obstacles are guaranteed. So are setbacks, failures, critics, and storms. But none of these things can defeat someone who burns from within. The fire gives you the power to keep moving when the odds say stop. It makes you immune to the poison of doubt. It gives your life direction when everything around you is spinning in chaos. While others look outward for confidence, you build it from the inside. While others need conditions to be perfect, you create progress in the middle of the mess. Victory doesn't belong to the lucky or even the most talented. It belongs to the relentless. It belongs to the one who refuses to let the fire die. It belongs to the one who stokes that flame daily with vision, with purpose, with grit. Because when the fire within you burns hotter than the fire around you, nothing can stop you. That is when victory becomes inevitable. So, let the world shake. Let the noise rise. The war may rage around you, but the victory begins within you. And when you master your mind, control your thoughts, and keep the fire burning, you become the storm. Lead, build, endure, win. Not someday, not when it's easy, but now. Because the world doesn't need another follower. It needs one more unstoppable force. And that force is you.